Oh, we're back.
Yeah, sorry about the abrupt ending to the last episode there. I didn't realise it'd be 28 minutes long. Having this laptop upload for that long doesn't seem like the best of ideas.
No, probably isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, as you were saying, basically Edia points out neither idea is technically wrong.
Because they're too extreme.
Yeah.
Is what the problem is.
Well, that's the same with all their ideas.
And she's basically like, you'll have the country will be much better off if you lower the taxation, but don't completely abandon the poor people. You need to kind of be moderate about things.
Now that makes me somewhat unsure about what decision I'll go with.
Yeah.
Because I feel that decision could be compared to recent political cases.
The orphans are complaining about being hungry in mine, but at the same time, they're able to punch that. They're able to feed them better now that people are able to get money, because they of course couldn't get money because the taxes are too high, so nothing was selling or anything. And that's him dead. Congratulations!
Wow, that was such an extreme
Victor
boss battle.
Von.
Yeah, that was a great boss battle. Just Victor, I thought.
It was Victor Von something. Victor Von Iron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's dead. He was your big villain.
Big boss fight, yeah.
Clank, anyway. By the way, you don't have Clank in this part of the mission. It sucks.
I found a way inside the deplanetizer. Heading to the Starcracker chamber now.
Love of Doom.
You get to summon the little Doomlings.
I've got enough at the moment, so I'll maybe do that later.
But
yeah, because I feel that could be compared to some political cases going on at the moment. Although at the same time it is a little bit...
different?
Yeah, like, you know, one thing it could be argued is trying to compare it to the migrant crisis that's been going on. Though, of course, the difference there is the orphans are actually originating from within the country itself, I'm assuming. Yeah. Rather than being, you know, a case of foreign aid or national aid.
And this is a bit more extreme.
Do I feel the argument in... well, it's the biggest migrant crisis we've had since World War II.
The money. We've not increased taxes to the point where a single meal costs 7,000.
No, we've never done it to that extreme, though.
7 million?
So technically, the plan in terms of the Conservative government for during the coalition and the first 2 years of the Conservative government was a matter of solving the problems of tackling our debt via auditry.
Yeah.
Which means basically taxation and such.
Okay.
Which was basically, you know, this is going to eventually become a problem. We got to start dealing with it.
Yeah.
The problem is of which I do feel like our current government does have a good idea of. At the moment, we probably do need to start not doing some of that. In order for that to work, we need to actually have the infrastructure first, so that we can then not need to upgrade it later on. But basically, like.
It's the option of do you help them now or do you build security to then help them?
We need to tackle the issue. We needed to tackle the debt. That's been like the big thing, and England has been one of the few countries actually properly tackling that.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, it has gone to a point where a lot of our services have been strained.
Yeah.
And so it's a case of, okay, we do also need to improve our services, but it's kind of difficult to do both.
Yeah.
You know, we can't tackle the debt really at the same time as trying to, trying to actually improve our services. But we can't, properly manage, and we're going to end up spending more if we don't deal with our issue, our lack of services now.
Yeah.
So it's it's kind of a chicken or egg situation, really. How much do you devote to which things? Which things are going to be the bigger problem?
Yeah.
Like one thing that's been debated for I think 15 years has been, and is a huge argument case in the UK, is Heathrow, which is basically
Heathrow.
Yeah, it's basically building a third runway for the London airport.
Oh.
The thing is, though, building a third runway for the London airport also means destroying a few houses, several houses, lots of houses, like a good 500 from like 4 different settlements of that as well.
Jesus.
However, it's like on the negatives, it destroys a lot of houses and ticks off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some from this side. No, there isn't.
He killed them.
Okay.
You're so lucky to have Zircon with you.
Yeah. Is that
Looks like a new kind of
on the sort of pro argument for it is it's a third runway for London. London has a population of like 4 million people. It is the centre.
I think you're pro under a mist.
Yeah, it is the banking centre of the mainland European area.
Yeah.
Even without us out of the UK now, it's still a huge area for banking.
Yeah.
Like, the next viable area people are suggesting is, I think it's Frankfurt, but that has like a quarter of our population.
Yeah.
From London. It does, however, have 4 runways, and basically we need more runways. Like, that's an inevitability. However, there has been arguments of we can build it in other places.
Yeah.
With one area actually being really keen to build it, whereas Heathrow, a lot of people are not wanting to do it, aka the people who live near Heathrow.
Yeah.
However, in terms of business, it makes the most sense building it at Heathrow because that's closest to London. That's where all the where all the finances and such go to.
Yeah.
The argument for the people of Gatwick, who are really keen about having another runway, is there's the objections to they're more willing for it.
Yeah.
And the argument against Gatwick's, though, is that Gatwick's runways are used more for leisure than they are used for business.
Yeah.
And it's further away from London. Like, people could use it for business, but I'd say that Gatwick makes more sense in the term that you could potentially, although it's a bit of a long shot, have it so that people who would normally be trying to go for leisure via Heathrow would instead go to Gatwick because there's more airports at Gatwick then.
Yeah. Which then would free up more space for business on... Go through where the big robot was. That way.
Okay.
The one with the bright green border.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know whether there was anything up that way. Or had already been there. Attention, strike team 7. Oh.
I love how they just run into their death.
Yeah. But I can understand why, business-wise, it makes more sense to do it at Heathrow.
Yeah.
And particularly because of the uncertain situation we're in now, with how we're going, what deals we're going to actually be making now since Brexit.
Yeah.
It makes sense to focus on the business, and it should be credited to Theresa May that she's sort of like been pushing forward for the Heathrow now, despite the fact that her own constituency she represents are against it.
Yeah.
And she objected previously in the past because it's near her home. Like, Maidenhead is the furthest away from it, from the places actually being affected, but it's still affected. But, it's a case of, well, we have to make sacrifices if we're going to keep businesses booming.
Yeah.
So, give credit to there. However, one person suggested an idea I am quite a big fan of, which is, instead, keep the focus on the business situation. However, build it away from London. And it's basically try to increase businesses outside of the London area. Because it's created a disparity, I guess? Can't think of the right term here.
Everything business-wise is focused on London, so nowhere else really gets proper business.
When you have difficulty relating to one another. People in London, their situation seems completely isolated from the rest of the UK. So things that are like concerns for people living in other parts of the UK aren't concerns for people living in London. That's why in voting as of late, the voting patterns for all different matters have been completely different depending on the area.
Yeah.
The referendum recently, London almost entirely voted Remain, whereas where in the end Leave ended up winning.
Yeah.
In the vote of heck, even the government vote, it was actually more Labour votes in the last election happened in London. Whereas oddly enough, in the area where Labour's supposed to be strong, the north, there are a lot more Conservative votes.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's because there's such a disparity between how London is at the moment, because it's got all the business.
Can't do that. You're blocking one of the things.
There we go. Didn't want to get too political because that just leads to arguments. I've had to be very tiptoey around some of your friends who are like complete opposite political spectrum to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I could have decent conversations with them. I just don't want to try and... Because I know I feel they are sensible enough to have balanced conversations with them. But
Yeah, they are.
it's like, it's still very awkward at the same time. Like, you can have like a conversation where you both, where you agree to disagree sort of thing, but still have it so it's like, I don't want to have this sort of like difference in opinion per se, because it's just making things awkward.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
I just don't really care much for politics.
Yeah, but in terms of other matters, you could probably have
I can discuss
sort of debate.
I can discuss matters, and technically I can discuss political opinions, but
Oh, another thing that I guess it kind of, you could say it gets into a political opinion, but it's more to do with zoos, so that's... was that thing that, was it David Attenborough?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on, who was I thinking of? What was the name of that really big wildlife guy we have? I'm pretty sure it was... He has a ship named after him now.
David Attenborough.
That's it. So I was right the first time. You made me think I'd gotten the name wrong.
Why? I just don't know what you're on about.
You know the monkey that escaped
Yeah.
from the glass cage zoo.
Yeah.
This led to him making a comment against glass cage zoos.
Yes.
However, he added to his comment, however, zoos play a vital role, and so I'm not criticising the zoo's existence in of itself. I'm criticising how the zoo has a glass cage system.
Yeah.
Rather than a system where you could just peek in.
Yeah.
So you could still observe whilst making it as much to the natural environment of the monkey as possible.
Yes.
Of course, then people took this to mean, okay, let's have a conversation of whether zoos should exist or not. And it's like, no, he already said they should exist.
We've put the planet in a situation where we have to have them exist. There's no beating around the bush with that.
It's like, but that wasn't even the point he was trying to make, though. It was against the style of zoo, not the zoo itself.
People always twist things to make it support their own agenda anyway. Group controls are helpful.
Yeah.
Dancing is your friend. There's people behind you as well. Your Zircon is down. And there is health over there. You also have like full round for your Buzzblade, I believe.
Oh. That was,
Remember, Buzzblade requires minimal aiming.
Okay, not sure why my Mr. Zircon disappeared so quickly.
He's burning through his ammo quicker because there's a lot of targets.
Oh, you're up there.
And he's dead. There's more. There's dogs. Proton Drum.
Oh yeah.
It deals with the weaker enemies.
Really not a fan of using the triangle thing, but it does mean
It's a lot easier for a wide variety of weapons.
Yeah.
Oh,
is that... Oh.
Him. That guy.
It shouldn't be that hard. Clank managed to beat him easy enough.
I think it's just an upgraded warbot, so it's just
Oh, thank you,
warbot
Zircon.
that takes a couple more hits. Health!
Nothing to it.
Health in both corners.
Yeah, I accidentally got this into a very political conversation, but Bravely
Zoos
Second...
aren't political.
But Bravely Second does have a lot of political matters to it, I'd say, in terms of a lot of its choices.
Yeah, in a sense.
Like you could narrow these down into political ideologies
Yeah.
easily enough as to what, you know, in terms of what you're focusing on, rather than having it as a this situation means this situation means that.
Yeah.
It's probably not the best way of going about it, but it's what, you know, happens.
As I said, I try to view them logically. For example, my logic is there's no point evacuating like an entire country so you can research what is, yes, potentially infinite energy source. He's glitching out a bit. But this potential infinite energy source also has a chance to nuclear explode.
Yeah, maybe if he'd left that part out, I might have considered him, but
I wouldn't have sided with him anyway.
in terms of the...
There's a simple solution. It's called a dam. Basically, the first Red Mage wants this magic sphere thing because it generates water.
Finally!
And he believes he can harness its power to basically create infinite energy. And then he can return the gem. It will take about 3 years, if they're lucky, for it to work. But there is a chance it will explode and kill everyone in a very large radius. You can climb up there. There's also explosives being fired at you. Be careful, the explosives hurt a lot. But the thief doesn't want this to happen because this item also...
Explosives... Oh.
This,
no, I don't want... No, thank you.
Don't worry, Zircon's dealing with it. This item also happens to be the source of all water for a large portion of the country. And so you have to make a decision. I sided with the thief and fought the Red Mage. But really, the simple solution is, put it in place, it starts generating water. That means the water is flowing
you can build
from somewhere.
You need to build some...
Just build dams.
Yeah. Just where the water's running to.
Like, water wheels and that generate energy. And then you've got basically infinite energy from a gem that produces infinite water, apparently. So, problem solved.
Keeping on the UK political topic, though, it's kind of like how our our energy problem could be solved if we just started building really good hydropower.
Yeah.
Out by our rivers and oceans and such. But apparently our technology for that sort of stuff sucks, and it costs an awful lot getting it from other countries.
It's good. We need to just develop eco-energy, really. I don't see the point in not using it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Like, I think at the moment it's a bit, I think...
It's unrefined, but that's why you refine it.
Yeah, a more medium approach is sort of required in terms of approaching it. Like, people think that we need to convert to eco-energy immediately. I think that's
we couldn't do that.
That is just way too, You're not going to get people doing that because other countries will just boost up their non-eco-energy. So it's just going to not make any difference in the end anyway. At that point, you have to get to a point where eco-energy becomes more viable than non-eco-energy.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, unfortunately, when most of it starts to run out.
Yeah.
I think
we have to work a lot to get it to be viable.
I think that it's going to take time, but people really need to realise that it's going to take time. It's not going to be some magic fix.
This one took a while for me, I think. So I feel
that one can only go there.
The key thing to remember with this one is you have enough to make it so they don't all have to be pointing at 2.
Oh, true.
If you can find a way to get them to work with some of them only pointing at 1... I'd say sort the middle one out first. Get the middle one in a position...
that is the middle one.
Yeah. Get in a position where it's pointing at something without blocking.
Okay. There we go.
But no.
No, that's not.
Then, what's the second side story again?
The second side story? Oh, that's no, it wasn't White Mage vs Merchant.
Hold
It was
on.
the one before White Mage vs Merchant.
Let me get them up.
Oh nope.
It was Summoner vs Swordmaster.
Yeah, that was it.
That one. It's 20 minutes, by the way.
Oh, okay then.
Do you want us to wrap up here?
Yeah,
and
I'll.
have you solve it.
We'll start when I've solved this.
I'll complain about the other side stories in a bit.
Okay, I'm gonna first move these into a position where none of them are against. Nope.
Deactivate everything.
Yeah,
First,
I'll just
and then
focus
work
on the
it out.
barriers.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Cheerio.